On episode 645 of the 40 Plus Fitness podcast, we meet Funk Roberts and discuss ways we can increase our testosterone naturally and add muscle over 40. You can find the full show notes for this episode at 40plusfitnesspodcast.com/645. Have you decided you're ready to make a change? To reclaim your health and fitness, the 40 Plus Fitness podcast is here for you. Each week, we dive deep into health and fitness topics that affect those of us over 40. I'm Coach Allen. I'm an NASM certified personal trainer with specializations in corrective exercise, behavior change, performance enhancement, and fitness nutrition. A Precision Nutrition Level 1 coach, a FAI certified functional age-linked specialist, and an OTA Level 2 online trainer. Each week, I'm joined by our co-host, Coach Rachel. She is an NASM certified personal trainer and a RRCA Level 1 run coach. Let us be your coaches as you find your way on your health and fitness journey. All right, let's go. Feeling stuck? Do you struggle with discipline and willpower? Imagine waking up each morning, feeling energized and ready. Ready to conquer your fitness goals? Ready to take on the day with unstoppable energy. How? With a coach and a team by your side. At 40 Plus Fitness, we understand the challenges of losing weight and keeping fit as you age. That's why we've designed a unique hybrid program just for you. This isn't just any fitness plan. It's a blend of one-on-one coaching and group sessions, creating a powerful mix of personalization and community support. Accountability is your secret weapon. With your own online coach to guide you, there's no falling off the wagon. I'll be with you every step of the way, pushing you forward and ensuring you stick to your goals. Plus, you'll be part of a vibrant community, a group all on the same journey, all supporting one another. You're not just joining a program, you're joining a family. Ready to transform your life? This exclusive coaching program is limited to 12 committed people over 40. The first cohort starts the first week of June and is designed for people just like you, people who want real change, they just need a little help. Don't miss out. Get on the waiting list at 40plusfitness.com/laser today. Motivation comes to those who do things. It's time to do this. 40plusfitness.com/laser and join the waiting list now. Hey, Raz, how are you?
Good, Alan. How are you today?
Good. So as you're listening to this, I'm actually back, but we're recording this before I left for my Italy, Greece tour. So literally 5 minutes from the one we did with Dr. Haver. And this is kind of the flip side. This is a guy who works predominantly with guys over 40, helping them naturally increase their testosterone, get muscular, and potentially ripped. He's very ripped. So there really isn't a hello part of this, but I did want to just have this little segment to let you know that we're back. And starting next week, we'll be having our normal hello section and then a normal discussion, but we'll talk to you after the interview, okay?
Perfect.
Our guest today is an online fitness entrepreneur who runs 2 seven-figure businesses and is a recent recipient of the 2 Comma Club through ClickFunnels. He is known around the fitness industry and the world as the guy who helps men over the age of 40, 50, 60, and beyond get into the best shape of their lives. With no further ado, here's Funk Roberts. Funk, welcome to 40 Plus Fitness.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. Can't wait to share some knowledge.
Yeah, it's funny. I was talking to someone today because I talk to a lot of coaches, and he's like, look, I coach people over 42, but I don't want you to think that's a bad thing. I said, no, it's a wonderful thing, man. That is a wonderful thing. Because in my mind, I came into this, there was nobody doing this stuff. There was no one helping people over 40. There was no one putting this information out there. And so I don't look as other coaches in the 40 space as competition. I look at them as brothers. You're helping me solve a problem that I've seen for a long time. I went through it and I managed to take care of myself. But I know most people out there, They don't have the time or the money or the effort that it's going to take to train themselves to be personal trainers. And that's why you and I do what we do. So I'm just really excited to have you on this show.
Thank you so much. Yeah, you're absolutely right when you talk about kind of like a band of brothers helping others. Like Clark Bartram, who is a fitness icon, is a good friend of mine. The people at Anabolic Live are great friends of mine. Dr. Balduzzi, a fit father, he's been on my podcast, and we're all in the exact same space. We all help the same, a demographic, but we all understand that, listen, there's millions and millions and billions of men around the world who are struggling in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. And so one person can't handle everybody, but we all have a unique, niche inside of the men over 40 niche, which really and truly helps us do the best we can to help as many men as we can throughout the world.
Absolutely. Now, one of the things that sets men over 40 apart is we get to that point where we start to decline. And it's usually associated with the sex hormone testosterone. And we start losing it. So we don't go through menopause. Thank God. Because I don't think a man could handle it. But we go through andropause, which is less life affecting, but it does affect us. And over time, it can really take a toll on us. You're kind of a big guy on how we can manage our own testosterone through movement, nutrition, supplements, and whatnot. Could you walk us through some ways that we can kind of keep our T under control? Because people are getting diagnosed with low T younger and younger and younger. So it's not even now a 40-year-old thing. It's probably even a 30-year-old thing for a lot of men. So could you share some ways that we can help manage our testosterone naturally?
Sure. Yeah. So just to kind of back up just a minute with the understanding what testosterone is, because I know that most men don't understand that testosterone is related to a lot of the struggles that they may be having when they're 40. So when you understand, okay, well, what testosterone is our number one male hormone. It's really literally responsible for everything from like muscle growth, your drive, your confidence, obviously your libido, the ability to lose fat, helping you battle chronic health issues, just your mental health, like your energy levels. Everything is related to testosterone. And so when we reach the age of 30, our testosterone levels naturally decrease 1% to 2% every year. So by time you reach 40, that's really the time when people start to not feel the same, right? Like I don't really feel the same. Things aren't, I'm starting to get a little bit soft. I don't have the energy, I don't have that sex drive. And so all of that accumulation from 30 to 40, now it's really hit. And now you're really feeling all of the symptoms of low testosterone. And when I mentioned that testosterone is the number one male hormone, when I was 39, I went through a very difficult time with low testosterone that I did not know. I was a fitness person. I was posting videos on YouTube, and I started to feel like I had a big belly, and I was really big and puffy. You call it puffy muscle syndrome. That's Elliot Hulse calls that. So I was really big and puffy, and I didn't know what was happening. My girlfriend had left me at the time because I just didn't have the sex drive. And I didn't even realize it. Like, you don't even realize these things. No energy, getting injured in the gym, and then you try to go harder in the gym, or you try to all these different, nutrition plans. Like at that time it was Atkins diet, and I did the low carb, low fat, like all of these things. And I knew about fitness, and I didn't know what was happening to my body. And that led me down into depression, almost suicidal, addiction, because, when my girlfriend left, I had to mask my manhood, because that's the other thing that you kind of lose when your testosterone levels are low. You feel like you lost your manhood, right? Because your estrogen levels, which is a female hormone, starts to increase. And so it was a very difficult time for me at that point in my life. And when I went to the doctor, he told me I have low testosterone. And I'm like, oh my God. So all of these things that I'm suffering from is due to my testosterone, because again, I didn't think I had it. Like, I was a big puffy, big guy. So I didn't really understand that correlated to having low testosterone. And then, of course, he wanted to put me on testosterone replacement therapy, but I'm a former professional athlete, so I played in sports where you can't take those performance enhancing drugs. So I knew a lot about that, and so I wanted to do it naturally. So this is where I went and started to change my entire life, I guess, from nutrition to workouts and some of the things I'm going to share with you today. And then 6 months later, My testosterone levels had tripled, and I felt like a new man, literally in my 40s. But then I almost died a few years back, and I put all the things I'm going to talk to you about today into play. So, yes, testosterone is super important. Naturally increasing it can be done and should be the first line of defense. And so, when we look at that, it starts off with just the knowledge, right? The knowledge that it is testosterone that is doing these things, and that you now have to change your mindset to live a different type of lifestyle. Because when we reach the age of 40, the margin of error is very, very small now. Like, we can't eat the same way we used to, like pizza and drinking alcohol and all of that stuff. And we definitely can't work out the same way, like those bodybuilding style workouts and all of the 6 days a week. That's just not going to work with us, because we don't recover the way we used to. Our joints are a little bit, they're not as supple as they used to. And so we have to change things up. So one of the first things, if we want to talk about, is nutrition, right? You can't outtrain a bad diet. So as much as you want to, jump on, cardio and all of these other types of training modalities, it's all nutrition is going to be one of the key things to helping you naturally increase testosterone. So when it comes to nutrition, you want to focus on what we call macronutrients, right? The main macronutrients, which is protein, carbs, complex carbs, of course, protein, carbs, healthy fats, and then vegetables and fruits. Now, I know vegetables and fruits are carbs, but the way I teach this is you want to have a balanced plate. Okay, so your balanced plate is going to have a source of cholesterol. The reason why you need cholesterol is because a source of healthy fat, which has cholesterol. And the reason why you need cholesterol is a precursor to testosterone production. So at night, when you're sleeping, that's when the process of testosterone production starts in the hypothalamus. Sends a message to the pituitary glands. It releases luteinizing hormone and follicle hormone. They both go down into the testes. And once the luteinizing hormone specifically gets to the testes, knocks on the door to the Leydig cells. The Leydig cells opens the door and says, okay, let's get this process started. But in order for the process of testosterone to start, testosterone production to start, the Leydig cell needs cholesterol, good cholesterol. If there is no cholesterol, there is no testosterone production. And so that's really key. And the reason why we have healthy fats. So healthy fats could be, grass-fed butter, olive oil, avocado. That's a big thing for me on a daily basis. And the guys that we are in my brotherhood, avocado. So good, healthy fats are going to be on your plate. The second thing is protein. Protein are the building blocks of your muscles, bones, and all the metabolic processes that go in your body. So, and we don't get it naturally. So we have to get protein from an outside source. One of the other things that we suffer from as we get older is something called sarcopenia, which is a natural loss of muscle due to aging. So once we reach actually mid-30s, we start naturally losing muscle 3 to 5% every year. And then as we get older, like in our 40s or our 50s and 60s and 70s, that also accelerates. And that's another main reason why, we have to exercise. We also have to eat in order to help us repair and restore the muscles that we are breaking down in the gym. So protein is key, and we have to get that from an outside source. So high qualities of protein, which would be any animal protein, grass-fed beef, organic chicken, fish, any wild-caught fish, a good high-quality grass-fed whey protein, because sometimes we just don't get enough protein through food. So having a protein shake readily available is perfect. So again, you just want to have that on your plate. The third is our carbs. Now, this is one that really surprises a lot of men, because everybody reads, everybody hears carbs are bad, carbs are bad. And yes, carbs are bad, because there's two types of carbs. There's simple carbs and there's complex carbs. The simple carbs, the sugars, the processed foods, the grains, the pastas, those are the ones you want to stay away from. When it comes to complex carbs, and they're actually, I said grains, but there's certain ones, but complex carbs, these are things like white rice or basmati rice or wild rice, steel cut oats, things that are quinoa. So those are things you have to have on that plate, because carbohydrates, complex carbohydrates, actually support our thyroid. One of the other things that happens when we get older is our metabolism slows down. And that's not something that's naturally happening. Like, it's not physiological. It's actually just because we don't work out anymore. Like we're not working out. Our lifestyle isn't conducive to helping our metabolism kickstart, right? And plus, a lot of times when we are in our 30s, moving into our 40s, or even in our 40s and our 50s, and we just don't know what's happening, we start to jump on all of these diets, like, the paleo diet, the keto diet, like all these fat restrictive diets that also mess up our metabolism, mess up our thyroid. So a complex carb has to be on your plate. And then, of course, finally, we have vegetables and fruits, which are going to be the micronutrients, right? The vitamins, the minerals, the phytonutrients that, again, will support not just our hormones, but our entire, health. So when it comes to nutrition, you want 3 meals a day, and each meal has to have a source of complex carbs, protein, healthy fat, and vegetables or fruits, depending on the meal. Because sometimes in the morning, you're going to have fruits. And then during the day, you're going to have more vegetables and probably a salad as well. So that's the nutrition part. And again, and a lot of the foods that you eat in those categories are going to help keep cortisol levels down, help with your testosterone levels, like magnesium and zinc, and some of the minerals you get from the foods, boron, selenium, and then also help keep estrogen levels down, because estrogen is the female hormone, which we need a little bit of, but too much of it will kill our testosterone levels. So that's the nutrition part out of the picture. Now it comes. Let's talk about workouts, because again, we do need to train. We need to, and there's 2 reasons. One, we talked about before, which was sarcopenia, natural loss of muscle due to aging. If we do not work out, we will lose muscle, period. Doesn't even matter if we worked out for a long time and then didn't work out for a month or a month and a half. You will start to feel and see that the muscle that you worked out and worked hard for will start to get soft. Well, the muscle doesn't get soft, but you start to lose the muscle, you get more fat, and the more body fat you have, the less testosterone production is going to happen, because testosterone production's optimal body fat percentage is 15% to 8%. So it's right in between there. So we want to get our body fat down to 15% or lower, and we want to keep it there. Also, the type of workouts that you do, you want to ensure that you create a very healthy hormonal environment, meaning your testosterone levels are going to be able to increase after the workout. You want to be able to release growth hormone, HGH, and also IGF as well. So the type of workouts you want to do, which are going to be different from we did in the past, are total body workouts. So what I suggest are total body metabolic workouts. What is that? Well, that's a workout where you're going to move from exercise to exercise with little to no rest in between, and you're going to target the full body. So you may have, a squat, a lunge exercise. You may have a push, like a chest press, and a pull, like a back row. Then you may have a shoulder, something for your shoulders, bis and tris, if you want to do isolation type movements, or if you want to do more functional, where it's like a push, a pull, a hip hinge, lunge, squat, or core movement. And you can find those movements online and then create a total body workout. But you want to do 3 of those at least every week, making sure that you have a rest day in between. And when I said metabolic workouts, they're very short. They're only 20 to 30 minutes, but they're intense because you're moving from one exercise to another with little to no rest in between. So really, you may be doing chest press for 45 seconds, then you're resting for 15 seconds. Then you're going to do goblet squats for 45 seconds and you rest for 15. And you're going to continue to do that for 1 round, rest for a minute, and then repeat for 2 to 3 rounds, depending on how many exercises you have. That is optimal. You don't want to go over 30 to 35 minutes for a workout, because that starts to increase what's called your cortisol. So cortisol is a stress hormone. And this hormone is very important for us because it's a hormone that gets us up in the morning. It's a hormone it's also called the fight or flight hormone. But throughout the day, our cortisol levels are going to be needed for us to focus, for us to be attentive. But with that being focused and attentive, we also need our cortisol levels to go down. One of the things that kills our testosterone and also causes a host of other chronic health issues is that chronic cortisol, chronic stress, not handling that, whether it's at home, whether it's at work, whether it's wherever it is. There's a lot of stress going on just in the world today, specifically if you're watching certain things. So you want to manage your cortisol levels. Well, when you're in the gym, your cortisol levels also increase, right? When you're at home working out or at the gym or what have you, But if you continue to work out longer, like if you're on the what do you call it, the stair climber or the elliptical for like 60 minutes, then that's a disaster, because what you're doing is you're creating a chronic cortisol. So your cortisol levels are going to be high for an hour, and it's going to take it much longer for you to for it to decrease. Whereas 30 minutes is perfect because you optimize growth hormone, optimize testosterone after your workout's done, and your cortisol levels will go down. So that's why you don't want to go too much over 30 to 35 minutes. Plus, we don't have time to go longer. And the reason why we also use metabolic training is because it has something called the afterburn effect. So you'll be working out high intensity, meaning just you're not getting as much rest as you would when you went to the gym doing isolation workouts, like, biceps, bis and tris, and then you're sitting in the gym for an hour doing bis and tris. The afterburn effect, or EPOC, is what happens is our bodies, it will take our body much longer to get back to homeostasis. Homeostasis is where we started the workout. So right now, if myself and you, Alan, we're about to start a workout, our body's at homeostasis, pretty much rest. And then we get into this workout, we're doing it for 30 minutes, and then it will take our body, based on the afterburn effect and the studies and research behind it, 20 to 36 hours to get back to homeostasis. But it's funny because a lot of times in my brotherhood program, there will be guys on our coaching calls. They'll be like, "Hey, Funk, I think I have a sweating problem because 2 hours after I do your workouts, I'm still sweating." I'm like, "No, that's good actually. That's because your metabolism is continuing. So don't worry." And they're like, "Oh, okay, good." So it's that's what you want. You want to
Just use some deodorant, okay, and move on.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And get a good shower after. So there's so many positives that come out of total body workouts. And the last thing is, because we don't recover like we used to, when you do the old school bodybuilding, like chest day, legs day, bis and tris, shoulders, back, and then do it again, you're not giving your body enough time to recover, because we're actually breaking down, tearing muscle fibers when we do our workout. Like we're actually stimulating muscle breakdown when we're training. So because of that, we need to give our bodies a chance to, or our muscles mostly, a chance to repair, to recover, to get stronger, so that they're ready for the next workout. But when you do one workout after the other, after the other, after the other, you're not giving your body a chance to recover. You're not giving your muscle a chance to recover. Just think about that. You're just literally breaking down and tearing muscle fibers every single day. So 3 to 4 times a week, that's it. Brad Schoenfield has a great study that talked about that, specifically for men over 43 total body workouts. And again, you're hitting your entire body throughout the week. So that's the workout. And again, it's very easy. There's a lot of exercises that you can choose, that you can kind of slide into a template. And then you just choose, maybe start at 30 seconds of work, followed by 30 seconds rest. And then after a month, change the exercises and do 40 seconds of work, followed by 20 seconds rest, but whatever that's comfortable. And then let's get into the recovery piece, because this ties really well in with the workouts. This is such an important part of my program, is the recovery piece, because one thing that I want to make sure is my guys don't get injured, right? Like, and for us, as we get older, a lot of people are coming in with old injuries. So, I mean, I'm a former professional athlete in 2 sports. So I have shoulders, knees, back. Guys are coming in from the military. Guys, like, people are not 100%. They may be out of balance, out of whack, those things. So ensuring that we have the proper recovery. And yes, this means that you have to step outside your comfort zone, and you have to start doing things like yoga, like mobility, like Pilates, like things that you hear about, you think, that's not for me, but it's going to be what's going to actually save not only the recovery from your workouts, but every single day. You're not going to be waking up with back pain when you wake up in the morning, or you're not going to be feeling that knee pain when you're walking up the stairs, because that recovery, those, specifically mobility, opens us up. It helps us to activate glutes, things that are usually turned off. It helps us to, make sure that our posture is proper, core, all of those things that we don't generally train when we're working out are the things that are going to keep the longevity in the end. Because in our 40s, we may still want to get the 6-pack. In our 50s, we may be like, okay, I just want to be healthy. But when we get to I'm 55, and I know that when I get to right now, I'm in my mindset right now. I'm like, okay, I travel a lot. We do a lot of road trips, and I want to be able to hike. I want to be able to do things, I have two older sons. Well, they're men now, but like when they come around, I want to be able to run around and do things with them and, horseplay and all of that stuff. And when I have grandchildren, I want to be able to run around with my grandchildren. I want to be able to pick them up. I want to be able to do regular things without having back pain or knee pain or, "Hey, man, I can't do this." And, what I mean? So it's very important that just for everyday life, we include those. But also, it's going to help us to recover from our workouts. It's going to help keep our cortisol levels down so that we again set up that very healthy testosterone environment, and it will keep us, it'll increase our longevity. Because if you got to think about it, if sarcopenia is around the corner and it's always there and it's just waiting for us to stop working out, then that means we have to continue to be consistent and work out in our 50s, in our 60s, in our 70s, in our 80s. It's going to be part of our life. So adding that mobility is a game changer, and it's been a game changer for most of the guys in my program. So recovery is key, but you can also add some other things: sauna, foam rolling. Some people do the cold plunge, but whatever you want to do. I mean, the sauna is really great, but sometimes it's like, there's a lot of fads that go out there. But if you like that fad and it's going to keep you doing something for your recovery, then do it. Like that's, as long as it's safe. So that's the recovery piece. And then we're going to move into the sleep, because this is another unbelievably important part of optimizing your natural testosterone production, but your overall health. If there's one thing that affects your entire health more than anything, is sleep, and lack thereof. Again, chronic health issues, mental health, your hormones, body fat storage, the ability to build muscle, energy levels, and the list goes on. When you're not getting 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep, you're not at your optimal level. Because remember, I did say that testosterone production starts at night. It starts actually during that deep sleep, that part of your sleep. So if you're not getting that sleep, if you're only getting 3 to 4 hours, and even if you're getting 8 hours, but it's 8 hours of horrible sleep, then you're not setting up the environment for testosterone to start that process of production in the morning. Aside from that, remember I talked about muscle. I talked about breaking down, tearing down muscle fibers in the gym. Well, it's that sleep is another key time when your muscles will start to repair. You're at a point where your body's nice and relaxed. You're sleeping, and now that your muscles are like, "Okay, guys, let's go. Let's get ready. Funk's just done a workout. He's broken everybody up. Let's do what we can to repair. Let's take all that good nutrition that he's eaten throughout the day, feed the muscles so that they can repair and get stronger." And then you're waking up, you're feeling energized, you're focused for the day, your testosterone levels are going. So, although people, I don't know what it is about everybody wanting to push back on sleep, specifically at our age. Like when I can see when we're in our 20s and our teens, I can see that, honestly, 30s. I definitely see that, you want to stay up, or you're a night owl, or you're studying. But at 40, 50, 60, 70, and 80, man, we gotta be, so again, that margin of error is so small that I'm in bed at 10 latest and up at 6. Like that's literally what it is. 10, 6, 10, 6, 10, 6. So you start creating that sleep environment at about 9 o'clock. You're off the phone, you're starting to relax, you're turning down the lights, you're turning down the temperature, you're making sure that your bedroom has got a nice sleep environment. We're continuing to optimize our bedroom with blackout, drapes, like these. And then if you have the money or you want to save up for an incredible bed. It's funny, we were just in Texas last month, and we spent 10 days in Texas. And a lot of that time we were on the road. We drove to Big Bend National Park, which is a national park in Texas. And so we had to stay in different places. And every single place we stayed had an incredible bed. And for the first time in a long time, in those 10 days, I had the best sleep I've ever had. And I could see it in my body. I could see it I was a keynote speaker at a massive event. And I mean, I just felt amazing speaking at the end. This was at the end of the 10 day, at the end of the 10 day. But I just had so much sleep. I felt good. We hiked all day in a lot of places. We drove for 9 hours sometimes, but just having that sleep really, really, truly was a game changer. So, making sure that you actually create your life around your health as opposed to your health around your life, right? Like, okay, I'm 40, my health is number one. So everything else has to kind of move to the side. And I have to we got to move things around so that these things are the most important thing, because I can't be the father, I can't be the grandfather, I can't be the husband, I can't be the leader. I can't do this at an optimal. I can't even do it if I'm not in the best health or shape I need to be in. So sleep is important, recovery, nutrition, workouts. Now we're going to go to another one that's super important. It's mindset. So if you're listening to this right now, and I'm sure you probably heard this many times, even on this podcast, I'm sure you've heard this too. I'm telling you, you've got to have a very strong why. And again, you've probably heard this, but I can tell you it is going to be one of the things that will help you with your self motivation, because I can't motivate you. Alan can't motivate you. Whomever you're hiring cannot motivate you. And they're not there 24 hours when you go to work and you're really doing well on this nutrition plan. Okay, I got this awesome plan Funk told me about. And then you walk into work, and then Brenda comes in with donuts, right? Because every Thursday, Brenda comes in with donuts. Now she comes in with donuts, and they're beautiful donuts. And you're like, and everyone wants you to have a donut. And so you're like, all right, you know what? I'm going to have a donut. It's okay. I worked out hard yesterday. I'm good. I'll work it off tomorrow. No, that doesn't work. You cannot train a bad diet, and you have to be consistent, and you cannot compromise. And a good way to do that is having a strong why. Why do you want to change your lifestyle? Why do you want to get into shape? And it's got to make you cry. Like, not I want to lose 20 pounds, not I want to look good in a Speedo during the summer to go to the beach. That doesn't cut it. Literally has to make you cry. Is it because you want to be able to run around with your kids, and now when you come home from work and your son asks to go play catch, you just don't have the energy, and you can see the disappointment in his face, right? Or is it because your wife is not looking at you the way she used to look at you, and she's going out to the gym, but you're not, and now every time she looks at you, she's like, there's a little like, that's not the guy I married. Or is it because you have a history of prostate cancer or chronic health issues in your family? Like, you've got to go deep, 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 maybe 3 or 4 levels down. Why? And when you get to that level, that's going to be your anchor that you're going to use to help you stay consistent, because your why is going to help you stay consistent. Of course, you're going to get that support, but that why is going to start the mindset piece, right? It's going to start that, okay, I'm committed to this. I'm not going to compromise for anything else, nothing else in my life, because I got to be the best I can be. So I need to have that strong why that's going to keep me going on days I don't want to work out. That's going to keep me going when my friends want me to go out for beers after. You can still go out, but it's not the beers you're going out for. It's the social connection that you have. And that's another mindset shift, right? It's like, oh, wait a minute. Am I going out to drink, or am I going out to hang out with my guys? Right. And then you set that tone. Hey, I'm going to come out with you guys, but I'm not drinking. And yes, at first they're going to be like, oh, come on, have a beer, have a beer, have a beer. But the more you say no, and the more you stand strong to what you are doing for you, they will start to respect that. The people around you will start to respect that. The mindset also, you have to have that. Literally, you have to have that testosterone boosting mindset. Like, I remember when I was going through my process, anything that would have like increased my estrogen, or anything that I was using, like shampoos or whatever that I thought would decrease my testosterone. Like, I went to that level just because you're a little bit more aware, right? It's like that mindful eating type thing. You're aware of what you're doing, and the more aware you are, of course, you're not going to get everything, but the more aware you are, the more you understand that, wow, there's a lot of things here that I have been doing that's not beneficial to my health, my hormones, etc. And now that I have this mindset where, okay, I'm understanding, I'm learning. So the more you learn about these things is also important. I like to teach all of the guys in my membership, my brotherhood, I like to teach them so that they know why they're doing things. Like, why am I eating cholesterol? Why am I eating healthy fats? Well, I just said, because if you don't, you're not going to have the precursor to testosterone production. But when you know that, you're like, oh, the reason why I have this here is, and you'll go out of your way. Like, a lot of times when I go to the restaurant to order food, I'm always ordering off the menu. Like, I'll order some general stuff, and then, oh, do you have any avocado? Because I have to make sure I have the fat on my plate. Like, that's just how we do it. And every restaurant has that. And you want a nutrition plan that becomes a lifestyle. So when you start to change that mindset, you start to challenge yourself more, stay outside your comfort zone. Again, like doing things that are outside your comfort zone, doing things that are uncomfortable, having a more of a delayed gratification, right? Because this is a marathon, right? Increasing your testosterone levels naturally takes a long time. Takes 3 to 4 to 5 months if you're doing something specific. I've seen it in 2 or 3 months, but in general, you got to get the mindset, oh, this is the long game. But it's okay because this is a long game, right? You don't want to stop doing these things for the rest of your life. Sure, you're going to have times where you may, be on vacation or what have you, but in general, you have, that those pillars, the mindset, recovery, sleep, nutrition, and workouts. And then finally, once you have everything in place or you have everything starting to move in the right direction, then you add supplementation, right? Because I did talk about protein, and I still stand by the fact that we need to have a good grass-fed protein powder because men don't get enough protein. Protein, again, is the building blocks. We need it for our muscles. Muscle is longevity. So having that protein shake, like now my wife and I, we have a protein shake before we go to bed, right? So just water, protein, shake it up. We get that extra protein in because we're training, right? Once you start working out in your 40s and 50s and you start to become more active, your body's going to need more calories. It's going to need more protein. And so protein's good. Vitamin D3. So depending on where you live, I live in Canada here. And I know that in January we had no sun, like literally no sun, basically. So depending on where you live, and most of us are deficient of vitamin D3. And I'm also Black. So I also have a natural deficiency in vitamin D3. So supplementing with vitamin D3, omega 3s. Again, we talked about the cholesterol, but we don't get enough omega 3s. We have a lot of omega 6s, but not or omega 9s, but not enough omega 3s. Another great supplement for inflammation, brain health, overall heart health, and just ensuring that you're getting your healthy fats in. We have magnesium. The tricky thing about magnesium, though, there's so many forms of magnesium, right? Like magnesium is responsible for a lot of the processes, chemical processes that go in our body, but there's so many different types of magnesium that you have to make sure that you get a magnesium supplement that has multiple forms of magnesium in it. Because when you do that, then because sometimes you may think, okay, I'm going to get magnesium for sleep, but you may be buying the magnesium that's good for muscle cramps and muscle growth, right? Like, so you may be going, how come I'm not sleeping? I got this magnesium here. So again, you just have to do a little bit of research. Zinc, another one that we need. Multivitamins. I'm a very big proponent of multivitamins, just because, again, like multivitamins, the foods that we're eating now in 2024 are not the same as the foods that we ate when we were in our teens. Like, you know what I mean? Like back in the 80s, when you had a broccoli, it was pretty much broccoli, man. You had a lot of nutrients in that broccoli. Now the broccoli now is, I mean, with the soil and what people are treating the crops with, it's not the same nutrient dense food that we had when we were in our teens or even earlier. So we need to supplement with a multivitamin. It helps with digestion. Helps with digestion of the foods that we're eating. It helps to ensure that the foods that we do eat, we do get some of those vitamins and minerals from those foods going to where they need to go. So I like a multivitamin. And then creatine as well. Remember, we're suffering from sarcopenia, so a good creatine. I mean, it's just creatine monohydrate. Don't fall for this is super creatine. This is creatine. This is just creatine monohydrate. It's inexpensive, and it's just 5 grams a day, every day. To ensure that we're doing the things that we need to do in order to help us build muscle. So in to wrap things up, it's mindset, recovery, sleep, nutrition, workouts, and supplementation, and it may be overwhelming. And that's probably going to be a lot of stuff. Oh, I got to do all of that stuff. Where do I start? Well, you start with the mindset. That's where you start. You start with making that commitment and the decision that, okay, I'm going to go down this road. And then you get either a good program or, start with your nutrition and workouts and then work from there.
Yeah, I agree with you. The mindset really is kind of the linchpin key. If you don't get that right on the front, then as soon as it starts getting hard, you're going to quit. And so you do have to get to that point. And, as you're going through that list and you're putting it all together, I mean, all the dude's talking about is just do the things that'll make you healthier, and your testosterone will pretty much take care of itself. Just do it and do it consistently and do it well. Work out with enough intensity, but not so much. Eat well, but not so much. Enjoy your life, but not so much.
Yeah.
rinse and repeat, just keep doing it.
The thing about that is like I had the mindset like that. I just couldn't understand when I first started to, because I came from training fighters. And so training fighters are a lot different because they are training because they want to, they're not even training for fights. They're training so that they can train. You know what I mean? They're doing strength and conditioning so that they don't, they don't gas out during jujitsu or Muay Thai or MMA when they're actually training so that they can learn. So the motivation for that niche of people in the world, the motivation's there. It's like, what do I need to do? And I'm going to do it. And the harder it is, the better, because I know I'm getting better. When I moved into understanding men over 40, I realized that like, well, you know what? They haven't been working out for a while. So there's so many other things that have been accumulating. And yes, it could be as simple as, just work out and be consistent, just this and just that. But that is still I learned that it's still a difficult thing for a lot of people to wrap their heads around, because if it was that simple, I feel like everyone would just, okay, well, it's that simple. You know what I mean? And so I think a lot of times people complicate things, right? They want to, well, I'll try, or they'll just try something as opposed to committing to something. But as much as it is that easy, I think it's important for somebody who's starting to have somebody there to kind of guide them through, because there is so much information out there. There's so much. 1 minute you could be listening to Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan, I work with the UFC, so I do work with Joe Rogan sometimes. He is on a different level. Like the David Goggins and the Joe Rogan, those guys are like the extreme, and you get what you need from them. But you're not going to just because Joe Rogan did this one thing, you're going to do it, right? And then there's all the influencers in between, which most of them are just more like, and again, no disrespect, but they're more me people. Like, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at my abs, look at me, 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 as opposed to how can I help you transform your body, right? And then of course there's everything else. Like there's so much information. And then, of course, your friends are probably telling you one thing. Well, I heard that, if you do this 72-hour fast, you're going to lose 20 pounds. And I think this guy named Carl White, I think his name is Jimmy White, or I think Dana something. Like, your friends are telling you things that they kind of heard in passing, and now they're telling you something. And then maybe your wife is telling you, oh, you should go on this vegan diet because, I helped this. So you're getting all of this information and you don't know how to sift through it. And I get it. I understand now, working with like 18,000 men over the last 6 years. I understand where they're coming from and where they're coming in. It's like you get on coaching calls and they're asking questions like, oh, so what is protein powder? It's like, oh, okay, we're there. Okay, but I get it, because when you're not on top of things all the time, it is sometimes difficult to know where to start, what to do. But the one thing I do know about men is when you give them something to do and they're committed, they're going to do it.
Yeah. For me, the interesting thing was, I was big into fitness and everything when I was in my 20s, and then starting into my 30s, but then I sort of stopped and I just declined, which is what the human body is built to do if you don't do the thing. And so the conversation was, and it took me a while before I really went back to this and said, okay, what was the difference between then and then when I actually started doing stuff? Right. And it was one conversation. I've gotten it down to the conversation. It was with my daughter. And she said, Daddy, I want you to come watch me do a CrossFit competition. And I was like, right in the chest, I'm not a spectator. I'm a participant in your life, So it was that idea that hit me so hard that I was like, okay, that's the pain. That's that crying that you were after. That was my wake up moment. That was my why. And it became this kind of obsession for me to do what she does. She was doing CrossFit. She became a level 1 instructor. She was doing these obstacle course races. And I said, okay, I can get there. I have no doubt in myself. When I want to do hard things, I'm going to do hard things. And that was that commitment. Well, now, I look at it and say, okay, do I need to be able to do a Tough Mudder like I did with her? And the answer is no. But I'm going to be one hell of a grandpa when that time comes. I'm going to be rolling on the ground. I'm not going to be sitting in a rocking chair. When they want to run around in the zoo, I'm not going to be sitting at a bench at the entrance asking them what it was like when they come back. I'm going to be running around that zoo with them. And that's kind of the drive of how I look at this. When I'm working with my clients, I'm like, okay, what is fitness for you? What is fit for task? Who do you need to be tomorrow, 10 years from now, 50 years from now. And let's do that. Let's
Yeah.
get that. And so when you have that why, the rest of this doesn't have to be complicated. It can start with very simple. And the thing is, the further you have to go, the less you have to do is
Mhm.
the truth. If you know you're not working out right now, go work out. Just do
Exactly.
that. You don't have to do something special. You don't do anything crazy. It's just, okay, you need to do this. If you don't know what to do, get the coach to get you started, but do something. And then if you know you're eating like crap and you're drinking like crap, stop. Just do that. Eat more whole food. You give us a very good model for how we can balance our plate and make sure we're getting all the nutrients we need. And we know if we need supplements because we're not eating it, well, then by all means, supplement. Get what you need because you know you need it. And so, yeah, you gave us kind of a blueprint for just get healthy, and your testosterone is going to start taking care of itself because you're taking care of yourself.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I love a few things you just said there. How old were you when your daughter said, "Come watch me at a competition"?
I was 45.
Right. So that's young. As far as that's young
Yeah.
because, and I can see why that hits there because you're still young. And, you also said that, you just got to start. And so I see it a lot where people just want to lose belly fat or just want the energy. So that's their start. But then they start to go from month to month and then things start to change. Like at first, guys don't want the six pack abs. They don't think they can get the six pack abs. So they just want to, like I said, the small win. What is that small win that they are trying to kickstart or get rid of or solve the struggle they want to solve? And then next thing you know, it's like, okay, well, I've been in here for 6 months. I've been working out for 6 months. I can actually start to see a little bit of the abs. So now I'm changing. Now I want the ad now because now my fitness is better, my lifestyle is better. Now I want to do this. And then something else changes. And then next thing you know, you're competing at the World Masters games for, cycling or the stories that, that I witness on a daily basis. It's unbelievable because knowing where someone comes and starts, and like you said, they're just starting, just okay, we're gonna baby steps, man. Let's just it's the consistency. But then
Yeah.
all of a sudden it's, oh wow, look at me now. Look at I've changed. Okay, now I want to build muscle, or now I want to, compete in something. Go back to jujitsu. We got guys who are winning the ADCC jujitsu at like 50 years old. Like things that they loved. Because that's the other thing I like is we all have passion. A lot of men had passion from when they were younger. Whether it was sports, whether it was cycling, whatever it is, something physical that they love to do, being able to get back to doing that, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then, like I always say, you guys, we're not just here we're just not here to participate. We're here to dominate. So, like, that's why you're getting into shape. So when you go back out and play soccer or basketball or whatever sport is you used to, you're going to dominate that sport, right? So you're gonna run circles around the guys your age, and then be able to keep up with the younger ones. And it's just that male and that masculine trait that we want to compete. And that's the other thing that starts to kickstart again when your testosterone levels are whether you want to start to compete a little bit, you have a little bit more drive. So yeah,
That
like
and, that and a lot of things.
yeah, of course, yeah. That's a story that we hear all the time. The relationship with the wife is much better on a lot of times, and then oftentimes, it's a little bit too late for some guys. Their wives leave them because they just weren't, paying attention, or like me, that's one that hits me hard because she wasn't my wife, but it literally side wiped me. Like I didn't even think. I mean, I was in my late 30s, and I wasn't expecting someone to literally have their bags packed. Like, you know what I mean? When you hear that, it's like it literally happened, and that was something that hurt. So I do understand the feeling that some guys have, but that's when you really have to take care of yourself and do everything you can for you while whatever's happening plays out around you. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Funk, I define wellness as being the happiest, fittest, and healthiest you can be. What are three strategies or tactics to get and stay well?
Yeah. So number one is the commitment. I mean, you just have to be committed to staying well. And you just heard me talk about all of the pillars. So with all those in place, it's about committing to, being the best you can be. So I would be number one. You just have to just be committed, and that's getting your why and getting a plan and sticking to it. Speaking of sticking to it, it's consistency. That is the number one thing is consistency. It's that day out, day in and day out. And as you mentioned, it's a long game. It's not like you'd have to do a ton of things. It's just the little things day in and day out, and then you're adding things, right? Like you're not trying to change everything in day one, you're changing little things and you're staying consistent. The things you need to stay consistent with is your nutrition, the workouts, and the recovery, and then the foods that you're not going to be putting into your body that's actually killing your hormones and in your body. So that's two, consistency. And number three is challenging yourself, man. You got to stay outside that comfort zone, which means you've got to try those new things. You have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And that the challenge and the staying outside that comfort zone will allow you to continue to grow as a man and continue to grow in your wellness and continue to grow in your health until you're 100 years old, still doing burpees and running around with your grandchildren and great grandchildren. So,
thank you. If someone wanted to learn more about you and what you're doing over there, which are, what do you call it? Alpha?
Yeah.
40 plus
alpha.
over 40
Yeah.
alpha. If someone wanted to learn more about you and what you're doing over there, where would you like for me to send them?
Yeah, go to the over40alpha.com. It's the Over 40 Alpha Brotherhood. We have over 16,000 men from all over the world who have transformed their lives through exactly what I talked about today. Follow along workout videos. So you're literally training with me every day, whether it's working out or we're doing mobility. And it's a support though. It's the brotherhood that really makes a difference because you're there with a bunch of men who are on the same journey. We don't talk politics. We don't talk religion. We don't talk pop culture. It's all about helping each other be the best. So over40alpha.com. And for $1, you can lose weight and get started for 30 days.
Awesome. Well, you can go to 40plusfitnesspodcast.com/645, and I'll be sure to have a link there. Funk, thank you so much for being a part of 40 Plus Fitness.
Thank you for having me. And I can't wait to come back.
Welcome back, Raz.
Hey, Alan, this is an interesting discussion. I could tell you all the things I didn't know about menopause, and I'm a woman. I should know these things. But now I can tell you all the things I didn't know about testosterone. I didn't realize men went through this reduction in testosterone as they age.
Yeah, it's a normal thing. It's called andropause. I'm not going to compare it to menopause because it's not even close. There's less fluctuation that happens as you're going into it. And it's just a gradual decline to a point where, and you see it, there's things that are just natural telltale things as men start getting older and their testosterone. They get moobs, they put on weight, their overall performance, their libido, things change. Most people say, well, it's just a part of aging. And it can be, it is, but you have some choices. You have some choices about how you live your life. And that's what Funk likes to get into is the ways that you can naturally increase your testosterone.
It really does kind of echo what we experience in menopause. It may not be nearly as fluctuating or complex as
Not
our
even close.
loss
Not
hormones.
not even close. So any man out there saying, "Oh, well, I go andropause," I'm like, "Shut up! You don't go through anything close to menopause." So it's not cool. It's definitely not cool because it's one of those things where you remember how you felt and what you did and how you were when you were in your 20s, and we ain't that right now. So we got to do the best we can with what we have.
It's interesting though that this is one hormone, and I feel like your doctor should be able to test you for it, maybe at an annual physical.
Yeah, you can be tested for it. Basically the way the test would work, they're going to test for basically the base testosterone. They can look at luteinizing hormones and some other things around the formation of free testosterone. But that's the key number. What's your free testosterone? What's the amount of testosterone that your body can use? And so looking at looking at the primary number, you kind of have an idea whether you're low or high. Looking at those others gives you an idea why you might be low or high. Maybe you're just not freeing up testosterone, the luteinizing hormone. isn't doing it. And so you can look through that and kind of get an idea. But the
Hmm.
general thing is you look at your free testosterone, if it's below a range that's considered normal, but
Hmm.
realize most ranges that are out there are set for the average person, but the
Hmm.
average person is obese and unwell. And so the average person's testosterone is pretty darn low. And so if
Uh-huh.
you're below pretty darn low, you're way low. And
Hmm.
so a lot of doctors, particularly in the aging space, will tell you that it's worth doing a little bit of supplementation of testosterone. And there's different ways to do it, similar like there's
Hmm.
different ways that women can increase their estrogen and their
Hmm.
progesterone. And
Hmm.
yes, women take testosterone if they need it as a
Hmm.
part of managing their hormones through
Sure.
hormone replacement therapy or menopause replacement hormone therapy. But
Hmm.
yeah, there's ways for you to get your testosterone up just with injections, with tablets or pills they put under the skin, with creams, lots of different ways, similar to with women, different ways you can
Hmm.
do estrogen. And people can boost their testosterone and they can do it naturally. There's
Hmm.
ways we talked about like that with funk.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like if men could get their testosterone tested on at least an annual physical type basis or periodically, if the doctor would allow it, then you could watch for trends. And if it were trending in such a way, then you could take action when it was necessary, whether it was with a testosterone supplement or, like Funk was saying, he's got this really great nutrition plan lined up, workouts, recovery, of course, mindset. And it's interesting how his workouts are a little different at this age than they might have been when you were in your gym at a much younger age.
Yeah, well, the thing to think about, well, two things to think about with hormone replacement therapy. One is it's contraindicated if you have prostate problems or cancer.
Important to note.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're not going to want to go into this without getting your prostate checked and yes,
Hmm.
done regularly. The other thing is a lot of times when you do testosterone, your body stops producing testosterone. So this
Ah.
is not something you just do and say, well, I'll do it for a couple months and then I'll quit.
Oh.
Because your
Mm.
body will stop making testosterone naturally if it feels like it
Mhm.
has all it needs, and you don't really want that. So you have to be responsible for how you do this and making the decision because it could be a lifelong decision that you're going to do
Mhm.
this if your body isn't going to produce testosterone on its own, or at least enough testosterone on its own.
For sure. Sounds like a very important conversation to have with a very knowledgeable doctor.
Right. And just be sure that it's not a doctor that is selling this as a service. So the aging doctors can be great. They're
Mhm.
going to be up on the most recent information studies,
Mhm.
but that's part of their business model is to sell you supplements and sell you these human growth hormone and
Yeah.
testosterone and stuff like that. So just buyer beware. The information you're getting, go to different sources. And again, this is the science behind this stuff is pretty fascinating. You
Yeah.
can even use SARMs, which is basically a polypeptide, I believe is the name of it, or something like
Mhm.
that. Anyway, so there's other ways that you can boost your testosterone naturally and unnaturally that is not an actual injection of testosterone. So
Wow.
there's a lot to it. If you're going to make the decision to do it, get yourself educated
For
before you
sure.
make the decision. And then, yeah, if you feel like this is something you need to live the life you're supposed to live, then
Mhm.
do the thing you need to do to be the man you
Mhm.
need to be. But don't just go into it blind and say, well, the doctor said this would make me feel better. 'Cause it will, but there's prices and there's consequences, and you need to know what those are.
No, absolutely. That was a fascinating conversation.
All right. Well, I'll talk to you soon.
Great. Take care, Ellen.
You too. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
If you enjoyed today's show, take a moment to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And if you would, please leave us a rating and review on your podcast player of choice. Next time on the 40 Plus Fitness podcast, we meet Brad Williams to discuss how to optimize your training when you're over 40. Until then, have a happy and healthy week.